Hey, my friends, this is your brother in Christ, Luther Washington, coming to you live from the set of the Family Corner, located right here in Mableton at the Family Life Restoration Center. Welcome to this episode. You're getting ready to see an episode where we celebrated the Faith and Blue Weekend. We had some local pastors from some of the local churches, and we also had some local law enforcement that came together. We had it hosted by a good friend of mine, Pastor Stephen M. Sherrard, who is the pastor of the Cathedral Atlanta. They had a discussion talking about how we can increase our relationship together. Law enforcement shared some of the great things that we can do to be ahead of the curve when issues arise in our community. And so did our local churches. They shared some of the things that they would like law enforcement to do to help them stay on top of things in the religious community. It was a great discussion. You are in for a treat. What we found out is that law enforcement and the local pastors are both here to protect and serve. Tune into this episode, and we look forward to seeing you on some of our future episodes here at the Family Corner. Thank you, and God bless.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Family Corner here at the Family Life Restoration Center. My name is Pastor Steve Sherrard, and I'm honored to serve as the host of a special conversation, a family conversation, here with community leaders in Cobb County. We have Reverend Dale Stevens of Pure Hope Church. Also seated to my right, Reverend Eldon Morrison of Shore Temple AME Zion. The District Attorney for Cobb County, Flynn Brody. And our Sheriff Craig Owens. Good to have you, gentlemen, and welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I'm particularly glad to see you gentlemen on this side of the law. It's good to have you both, as we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the community and, again, how we can come together. Pastor Dale, tell us a little bit about your church, Pure Hope.
Yes, sir. So our church is actually two churches that came together as one. So Full Life Church has been in Mableton since 1965. And then I planted a church down in Atlanta called Riverside Church in 2015. In COVID 2020, we merged and became Pure Hope Church.
Wow.
Our vision is real simple. It's to live like Jesus and to love like Jesus. And so we're known for doing a lot of communal outreach kind of activities.
And that makes sense as to why you got an invitation to be here. I'm really encouraged by the fact that you're coming together because there's one kingdom and yes, Jesus is Lord. Pastor Morrison, Shore Temple, tell us a little bit about your church.
Shaw Temple is a wonderful church, Shaw Temple African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church. I've been the pastor there for 5 years. Shaw Temple has been in Cobb County for about 21 years.
Wow.
Now. Originally in Atlanta, and it's about 125 years old. So
excellent. You and I have met in some other community events. You know, you got to take a deep breath to say your full church name. You just can't let it go. You got to take a deep breath. It's good to have both of you, my colleagues in the gospel. DA, District Attorney Flynn Brody, tell us a little bit of what does a DA do?
Well, the DA is responsible for prosecuting all felonies in the county. Mm-hmm. And our mission in my district attorney's office is for those people we could restore back to the community to do that. But for those people who need to be thrown into the jail, we're working to do that too. But mostly for nonviolent offenders, for drug offenders, we're trying our best to restore them back to the community so they can come back to the community as productive citizens.
Got some questions to ask you about something I read about recently about returning citizens and how we get them restored, right? Yeah. That's one of the things that we're also focused on here at Family Life, where I serve as the chairman of the board. So good to have you this evening. Sheriff Owens, good to see you, sir. I've seen your face all around the community. I've been maybe this close a couple of times, but certainly having the opportunity to shake your hand and welcome you to this conversation. Tell us, what does a sheriff do?
Well, first, thank you for having me on. I'm very excited about being this evening.
Excellent. It's good to have you. What's the difference between maybe the sheriff's department and the Cobb County Police?
Well, that's a good question. I think that's something that everyone really needs to know, that there's a difference. our police department is our primary first responders. That means when you call 911, those are the gentlemen and young ladies you see that will respond to that 911 call.
Okay.
So they're your primary first responders. The sheriff's office, we maintain the county jail, we maintain the court system, we maintain all our civil papers and your warrants issuance throughout the Cobb County, and we maintain court security of all our courthouses as well.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, it's good to have you as well. What's interesting, although you do different things, your mission, our mission is the same, to protect and to serve.
Right.
To protect and to serve. So tonight, I want to talk about the community, Chief, and to the DA. This is probably the first time where you don't get to ask the questions. Give me three things, and I'll let each of you respond. Three things that the faith community and the policing agencies can do to improve the relationship and mutual support of the community that you've been charged to protect. What three things come to mind that we could do together to mutually support one another? Anybody?
I think I'll go first.
Okay.
One of the best things from my perspective as a sheriff is for us to have a relationship prior to something going wrong. And we already have that working relationship with our faith-based community. So I think if we can do that, that's very important. So you're not calling me when things are wrong, you're calling me all the time. So we already have that great working relationship.
Yeah. We can go out and play golf.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so this conversation tonight is a part of that, right? And certainly we want to talk about how we continue that. Pastors, what do you say? What can we do?
Yeah, I would jump on that, and I would add you referenced it, but to be embodied, to be present. We can live in our communities and never really be there. You can pastor a community and never really be involved. You can be an officer driving the beat every day and never really be involved. And so to be present in our presence.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So I had a little deeper question. So I'll change the direction. I'll have the two of you respond. And so, Pastor Morrison, what role should the protection agencies play in what you've just heard? What role should the policing agencies, the protecting agencies, take in bringing this mutual respect, this beloved community together? What role?
Pastor, I really love how you phrase the question and the terminology of the question.
Oh, yeah.
Protection
Yep.
agency.
Yep.
Not law enforcement.
Exactly.
But protection.
Yep.
It reminds us all, not only law enforcement, but those of us who are just regular citizens, that they are here to protect us.
Yeah. And
in protecting us, they're protecting their own families. They're
Absolutely.
protecting everyone in the community.
Yep.
I think that's what they do.
Yeah, one of I don't know if this is a requirement of the Sheriff's Department, but I know I have the pleasure of serving as a chaplain with the Cobb County Police, and many of those officers live in the communities that they police. To your point, and so they have presence, right? Because they're there in their uniforms, but they're literally a part of the community as well, participating. And I know that there'll be some other discussions about a great organization or a great division within Cobb County, the PAL. Which, do you remember the PAL from New York?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the PAL. I was surprised that they did not have one functioning, at least when we came here in '99. But the PAL, that's why I learned to break ankles at the PAL. District Attorney, what should the faith community, what should their role be? What can they do to foster a better relationship with the protection agencies?
I think one of the biggest things, and Sheriff Owens uses this term all the time, is realizing that we're trying to be as transparent as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And when we do that, we're telling you the truth about certain things. And we see in a lot of the communities that they catch these snippets of a video here or snippets of a video there and don't know the whole story.
Yeah.
And when that happens, when you see something that you just don't understand, pick up the phone, call and ask. And we're always available to come watch the video, come see the whole thing, see the whole story. So that way, when you go back to your faith-based church, you can say, this is the truth. Stop looking at the snippets that you see, because the thing I hate more than anything about social media, it's divisive. And if that's all you use to get news from, you're going to hate everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, and it fosters the distrust that goes to separate us.
Yes.
I was watching something on the internet, and it was someone trying to prove the point you just made. And so it was an officer dealing with a suspect, and they first showed the whole video, and the suspect was shot, and he fell to the ground. And my first reaction was, because I and I'll acknowledge, I said, up another one,
Yeah.
right? And then he said, now watch this, and he slowed down the tape. And as he slowed down the tape and I looked at it, you could see the perpetrator now, because when I saw it the first time, he was a suspect. But when I saw it the second time, it was clear that he was a perpetrator. You could see him reaching for his weapon, and he had it right here. But it was so fast. So the training in lethal force, the training and de-escalating a situation, so important. And I've had the pleasure of seeing some of that at Cobb County, and I presume the same thing is happening in the Sheriff's Department. Gentlemen, I have one last question that I think will get us to where we need to be. As you talk to the officers, the policing protection agencies, I'd like to know what they could do to get you and the communities you represent to trust them. Likewise, gentlemen, what can they do to get you to trust them more? What can we do to build better trust? I'm talking about events. What can we do? What can we do? Let's start with the.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, for us, law enforcement, to have that better trust is to invite us to your churches. Tell us the activities and functions you have going on, so we can participate in those functions. Now the community getting to see us like everyday people, not just officers or deputies. Now they're seeing us interacting with you on an everyday basis, and I think they help build that trust and equip.
Love it. What time is your service?
Sundays, 11 o'clock.
Sunday at 11 o'clock. DA, what would you say?
It's very similar. Is allowing us to come and speak to people. You know, we can talk about our second chance desk. We can talk about diversion programs. We can talk about accountability court programs. Talk about the things that we are trying to do to make sure we restore people back to the community so that they know that we're looking out for everybody. We're not just trying to throw people away, because my philosophy is we can save everybody. And as long as you're not a person that wants to hurt others, I can save you. And I want to work towards that.
That's so good. We're in the saving business as well. Right? It's always about redemption. What do you say, pastors?
Well, I agree. I agree with the transparency piece of law enforcement and protection agencies continuing that transparency piece, as well as being present. And we've been able to work with the sheriff's office as well as the Cobb Police Department. And we've got a great relationship.
What time is your service?
At 8 and 11.
8, and so you can go to both. Pastor, what would you add?
Well, that's a great question. I think this is the start of it, right? It's just getting to know each other. And I welcome more of that in the future. Maybe more bridging opportunities. Not maybe in an MTV interview setting, but just across the table, maybe a meal or something like that. That'd be awesome to get to know one another a little better.
We're going to sponsor a Faith and Blue basketball game. Right, and I'm going to post the DA up, down low, and then take him to the hole. But before I do that, I got to break the sheriff's ankle with right between the legs, and then to the hole.
All right.
I want to thank these incredible leaders in our communities. Help me celebrate Pastor and Reverend Dale Stevens, Pure Hope Church, Reverend Eldon Morrison, Shaw Temple AME Zion. Our Cobb District Attorney, Flynn Brody, and our Sheriff Craig Owens. Thank you, gentlemen. Looking forward to bridging. So it's not Faith and Blue, it's just FLU, right? We're together, joining one another. Thank you for joining us here on the Family Corner. This is Steve Sherrod, and we're out.